Hello from Praxis Recruitment. I'm Christina Stewart, and today I want to talk to employers about when not to use a recruitment agency. I recently did a video on when to use a recruitment firm, when to get some external support for your recruitment, and I want to touch on a few times when it might not be the best idea, might not be the most appropriate use of your resources to actually use an external firm. And the first and probably most prominent situation is when you don't really know what you're looking for. When you aren't crystal clear on exactly the role that you need to fill, and you're kind of just kicking tires, or you want to see what's out there, it's best to do that yourself internally, because then when you put the posting out, you'll see, well, exactly who's out there, who's applying. So you should probably do that yourself. Otherwise, it's just too difficult for a recruitment agency to weed through and try to figure out what it is that you might want to see. The second scenario when you definitely don't want to be using a recruitment firm is when you have multiple internal candidates. If you truly want to go to market and you truly want to see who's out there, then a recruitment agency is a great idea to tap people on the shoulder, to do some sourcing, to do some actual headhunting, and really try to garner some interest in your role and generate a pool of applicants for your recruitment. If you are simply wanting to measure your internal applicant against what's out in the world before you move forward with your internal applicant, it's really unfair to those external applicants. If it's a true situation of, let the best person win, I really want to put it out there, then yeah, for sure, going through an external recruitment agency is a wise idea. But really, if you're just trying to assess your internal applicants, it's probably best just to put them through their paces within your organization by having them perhaps interview with other managers to see if they're up to the task from that lens. Another time when you don't want to go through the process of having an external recruiter is if you don't have the time to support them. So at the sort of, the outset of a search and at the end of a search is when the most effort is required from a client. So that's for us, ensuring that you're available for stakeholder interviews and that you've got time to give us in terms of really determining what that candidate looks like and sharing a lot of information about your culture and so forth. Then the second piece is when it's time for you to interview. Everything else is done in between. The postings, the sourcing, the headhunting, the vetting, the references, the interviewing, all of that takes place with the firm. But during that time, the client needs to be available to answer questions and to provide some support. And so if you just simply don't have the time for that, then it's probably not a good use of your time to use that external recruiter who's going to be needing some of your time in those particular instances. The next time that I want to talk about is when maybe you don't have trust in them. So if you don't really truly feel that this recruiter is the person that should be handling this recruitment, but you're a little hesitant, but you maybe are thinking about moving forward anyway, please don't. It's really important that you trust in your recruitment firm, in your agency, in your recruiter, that you've got a great relationship with them, that that they're going to go out and find that best person for you. So there absolutely has to be trust in that particular relationship. So those are the scenarios where I think it's probably best that you do it yourself, most especially, as I said at the very beginning here, if you're not really sure what it is that you're looking for and you just kind of want to see what's out there, if you don't necessarily trust your recruiter, if you don't have time to support the process, and if really you are just trying to see if your internal candidate stacks up. So those are the situations where I would recommend that perhaps you keep it internal, or perhaps you could just work with your external recruitment agency to find a way through those scenarios that does work for you if really you'd like to move your recruitment externally. So good. So thank you so much for listening. Please make sure that you subscribe to our newsletter, sign up for our YouTube channel, and if you have any questions that you want answered, please send them directly to me, Christina, at praxisrecruitment.ca. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.